I'm Trip Lee. I live in Dallas, Texas. I'm a pastor and I'm a rapper and an author, and I have a wife. I have 2 kids. My wife is Jessica. My kids are Q and Sailor. I think my love for music came from my dad, really, because my dad, while he wasn't a musician, he didn't play anything. He really loved music, and so there would always be music playing in the house. And he'd sit me down and be like, I know y'all like that little music, but here's what real music sounds like, and play me the stuff he loved. And then that just kind of branched out into different kinds of stuff I liked, including hip hop. And so yeah, I think it's a cool connection to my dad and something that he kind of passed on to me. I signed a record deal when I was in high school. My first album comes out like a week after I graduate from high school. So this is like when 8-year-olds say they want to be astronauts if they really got to go to space. This was like my dreams coming true. The only 2 things I really cared about very much that season of my life was Jesus and music. So I'm like, man, if I can go study Jesus at school, then that's amazing. So I go to Bible college. In my second year of Bible college, when I got back from summer break, I started just being more tired than I've ever been in my life, where I'm sleeping 18 hours a day, and then the other 6 hours I'm up. I'm exhausted. And so after a while, I'm like, man, something is obviously wrong. So I go to the doctor and say, oh, you got a virus. You're good. Take this. You'll be fine. I do that. I'm not fine. It continues that way. My body just keeps kind of crashing on me. Go to another doctor, infectious disease specialist. And he tests me for everything else he can imagine. And he says, I think you have chronic fatigue syndrome. We don't understand that very well. There's nothing much I can tell you other than try to eat healthy, rest as much as you can. 12 years later, it's still a very up and down thing. My energy is all over the place. Since then, I'm better than I was then, but I never know how much energy I'll have in a given day. That's very unpredictable. And so that has been the hardest part of every part of my life for the last 12 years. Honestly, there's so many times when I drag my body up into a pulpit and I'm so tired I don't even remember what I said. If someone sends me an email and says, man, that sermon really encouraged me. There is no logical, sane way for me to credit myself with glory for the work that God has done, because it feels like I dragged myself up there. I didn't have the strength to do it. My body quit on me all week. I didn't have the time to do it, and somehow God used his word to build up his people. It is obviously him and not me. There were things about pastoring, like communicating truth to people, that I got to do as a rapper, because I would try to put good truth in my songs. And even during my shows, I would talk in between my songs. But the thing was, I would get a chance to do that. And, I longed for the opportunity to not only get to preach the gospel, but to also get to walk with the people I'm preaching to and to help them to grow and to see it in the context of a community. And so I started to have a desire to pastor. I ended up going to DC, did a pastoral internship there. When I did that, I just take 5 months off of rap, and people said, that's stupid. Don't do that, because your career's doing this. You can't just disappear. But it seemed to me like the best way to prepare for what I felt drawn to, what I thought would be the best use of my time in my life. And so I did it and just said, I'll just trust that the Lord can work that out. I was in Atlanta for about 4 years, helped plant a church there called Cornerstone Church. Title was teaching pastor there, and serving alongside brothers I loved very much. And then about a year and a half ago, my wife and I moved to Dallas, and I'm serving at the church that my mom's a member of, and that I met Jesus at. It's called Concord Church. And right now I'm an associate pastor there, and I'm over young adult stuff, and I'm on the general teaching team. So there are some kind of unique challenges with young adults following Jesus in 2019. But on the other side, these are just different versions of the same sin problems we've always struggled with. We're trying to, sometimes people are like, how do I reach millennials? You tell me. And so there'll be some unique approaches, but God has given us means of grace, his word, his prayer, his people, worship. He's given us these disciplines, these means of grace that we want to keep going to, and we just want to think of, okay, how can we continue to go to these things in a way that speaks to someone's situation? So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're trying to not do some brand new things. We're trying to do the old things in a way that speaks to current situations. I'm excited about the theme, Entrusted with the Gospel for T4G, because I think it's such an important thing to talk about. And, when I think about that, I can think of people in my life who took seriously the fact that Jesus entrusts us with the faith that he hands us, not just to benefit ourselves, but to give to others as well. And, when I first, was beginning to follow Jesus, there was a man that the Lord put in my life who, I'm like 15 years old, and he is spending time with me. He's helping me get to know Jesus. He's helping me understand how to read the Word. He's meeting a woman that he's gonna start to pursue. He's let me look in on what they're doing. He's helping me wrestle through things in my life. We're sitting down with Scripture in front of us. He's teaching me what it looks like to be a sinner, but to revel in the grace of Jesus. Because he took seriously that God had not only saved him by the gospel, but had then called him to make disciples of others. Had called him to pass that gospel on to others, and it called him to live in light of it and help others to do it. And that shaped how I thought about my Christianity. That it's not just whether or not I'm reading God's word, it's also the way that I live in light of that truth among other people. That part of me following Jesus is helping other people to follow Jesus.